wife and kids. So Gerard, let's just start with how you've been feeling during the pandemic.
Oh man. Wow. I think I probably feel like a lot of people, going through a lot of emotions. We were obviously supposed to we were right about to leave for tour. So when the pandemic really hit. Um so obviously much like everybody else, like our lives kind of completely changed. And so, there's kind of an adjustment period. I mean, there's, at first there's the kind of the unknown, and you're like, well, what's happening? And, you know, can we stop it? Or can we get rid of the virus? Can we isolate it? Like all this stuff. So, there was a period of just like, not knowing what was going on, not knowing for sure. And, and as like we look at the world and we see that like we've watched kind of the truth erode in the last 4 years, you kind of don't know what to believe. You don't know what the fact is from, I mean, I guess you could have trusted news sources, but so there's been some hard days for sure. I think for my family and I, all of us, there's some days where it just hits you what's happening and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe we're in this situation.
It's interesting as you're talking because I'm seeing the parallels of the pandemic and mental illness itself.
Mhm.
It starts off with kind of this thing of like, this is sudden, it's unexpected, I don't like it. And the first thought that everybody has is, can I get rid of this? You
Yeah.
know, and then that thing that you're talking about the trusted news source, it's like, well, who can I believe? Like, do my friends support me? Do they understand? Do doctors
Hmm.
understand?
Hmm.
And trying to get to that place where you feel somehow settled in or stable in such an unbelievably unstable context
Yeah.
feels like
Yeah.
very much like I think what people with mental illness go through all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, like staying stable. That's the goal, being balanced and things like that. And I've been in therapy, talk therapy for probably, I think at this point it might be 8 years. And all through my life, probably about it when I got into my 20s, that's when I first started seeing a therapist, because I had hit a point where I realized, all right, something's not right. This kind of depression I'm going through, this not getting out of bed, this not participating in life, like there's got to be kind of something to this. So I started therapy way back then. And then the band kind of took off and got super busy, so there was lots of years of no therapy, probably when I needed them the most during this kind of whirlwind. But it wasn't until towards the end of the band that I just needed it. I needed therapy. I really did. I had so much to process. I had so much to work through. I had so much to discover. I had so much to take ownership of. There was just so many things that I had to do. So I've been working really hard at therapy, and I'm a big believer in talk therapy, like huge believer in it. Medication is a whole other factor. And like, I know it works for some people. I know it doesn't work for others. I know there's side effects. So, you know, um, I'm very careful about medication, but it helps me and it keeps me balanced. And the talk therapy, I think, is the most important thing.
One of the things that's so interesting about music for people who aren't artists is that it's the first time that we get a chance to, in some ways, destabilize by venturing out into emotional states that we're maybe not familiar with, maybe we're uncomfortable with. And when you're
Mm.
talking about therapy, I'm feeling like there's a very similar concept, which is the idea of, to a certain degree, when you're in therapy, you have to destabilize and start talking about things that are difficult, you know
Yeah.
and when you're doing something creative, by definition, you guys are doing things that are, outside the box of what the regular people are thinking about. I
Yeah.
don't like that term, but people who are the fans, let's